So, do you think Daisy Ridley decided to go ahead and take the money because she knew she was inevitably going to become irrelevant?
How old is she now?
30,
Well, 30's, yeah, you age out after 30 in Hollywood, right?
right? I mean, she
There
timed
you
it
go.
perfectly,
That's why this is happening.
right? She's like, yeah, might as well. Like, I'm
Yeah,
looking right now at Daisy Ridley, age 31 years. So that means what?
there you
Force
go.
Awakens. Yeah. So Force Awakens came out.
There
How
you
old was she
go,
in
Star Wars haters. There's
Yeah,
your answer.
there you have it.
We
Ladies and
figured it out.
gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we have a sad show for you. Because me and Ethan are going to talk about the future of Star Wars, and I'm scared because I don't know how this conversation is going to go. And all jokes aside, I just want to start the top of the show by saying I'm actually proud of Disney here. Um, I think bringing Ray back is the smartest thing they could do at this point to appease any goodwill or any future that this franchise might have. And we've seen so much explored. Well, like, we're gonna get into it. We'll get into it more later. I'm excited to talk about Star Wars, and I'm excited that like you're gonna be telling me like about the Star Wars stuff, and I didn't have to do any research because I didn't, Ethan. I did none. I'm flying by the
No,
seat of my pants on this one.
this is
This
going
is
to be a
gonna
real short trip. Let's hit it.
Yeah. Literally. Hey, I'm here for a good time, not a long time, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Oof.
in all seriousness, Ethan's going to be taking the lead on this discussion for the most part, but I did think you had a good idea with at least telling the people it's punch counter punch. I mean, come on. Welcome to
Hey,
Punch
for
Counter Punch,
April.
ladies and gentlemen.
Look at us getting 2 months
Look at us
together back to
go.
back.
I know. Who'd have thunk it? Not me. I never would have thought it.
Yeah.
So obviously it's been some time since we recorded our last episode, which still has not posted actually, too impromptu. So the people actually haven't heard that one yet. Yeah. So I just haven't had time to edit it.
What? Did we record something? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah. You know how it goes. Ethan said it at the beginning of the episode. He's like, you're going to be sad that you recorded this one because you're not going to have any time to edit it. And you called it. You play,
Yep.
you know exactly how I am.
Nailed
Ethan.
it. Nailed it.
But I do think it's fine to talk about, like, you obviously have something you want to share. So, Ethan, what's been up, man?
Oh, it's a new month and it's time for the old duder to, pick another hobby. So no, not really. It's one of those things. I've talked about it on this show before. I'm very cyclical.
That was really good, Ethan. The old duder's gonna start a new hobby. I relate to that so much. Sorry. Proceed with the chlorophyll.
Yes. As I've said, I do things it's very cyclical with me. So I'll pursue a hobby for a while and then it'll go by the wayside and I move on to something else and I'll do that, for 6 months, however long, and then I'll move on and it always comes back around to the same things, right? I did it with astronomy, still I set the telescope up on occasion in the backyard when I feel it. But it's not like I'm not, shopping online and ordering stuff every other week. And,
Right.
it's not, front and center. I've gone through a very serious Elite Dangerous phase in which, I've bought a new joystick and everything. And, I'm not going to go away from playing Elite Dangerous completely. It's one of those things that you can come back to when you feel like it. But as spring has now sprung for us, I'm getting into, I'm going on a cruise next month and I've got to do something about this dad bod. So biking is starting to become a big thing for me. And I used to love mountain biking hardcore, at least as hardcore as I could get. I'm really enjoying getting back on the bike and huffing and puffing and making the old lungs burn and the legs burn at the same time too. And all of the things that come with it. So I've been really enjoying that in the last couple of weeks as the weather has really, you can't stay in the house. You just can't. So
No,
I've
you
been
can't.
enjoying that. Also, I got it out in several weeks back. I've been doing a little bit of rail fanning over the last several months, actually, to going out and taking pictures of trains and things like that, and getting excited about just that old man hobby because hello, um, you know. So I've been out taking,
Ancient.
yeah, ancient here, taking pictures of trains in the area and whatnot, and it's really kind of fueled my. I've always loved trains. I was I was Sheldon Cooper or whatever his name is from Big Bang Theory before there was a Sheldon. Because when I
Gotcha.
was in my teenage years, I had a model railroad and things like that. And at different points in my life of adult life, I've made attempts at a model railroad. And nothing big. Although I did have a basement and had a pretty sweet setup there for a while, modeling one particular railroad from the 1950s. Well, one of my early experiences when I was about 6, 7 years old is I spent a lot of time with a neighborhood friend of ours who was an old school railroad man who worked for the Pennsylvania Railroad. And he had all kinds of memorabilia from the Pennsylvania Railroad all over his study. And I remember walking through there and looking at the pictures and picking up spikes and ashtrays and goblets and things like that with the old PRR logo on it. And he would just start spinning stories about his days working, riding the trains and working on the railroad and things like that. And that was like one of my first earliest memories of railroading, besides the old Kansas City Southern that was just outside of my parents' house in Oklahoma where we lived. Um, so railroading has off and on been a part of my life. Well, I finally have gotten myself to where I've got the space. I've cleared out my garage. It was spring cleaning this last weekend. The garage is cleared. The bench work's going up, and I'm building a small railroad out in my garage. So
Whoa.
that's yeah, I'm having fun with that, and it's all in the planning phase. I was able to salvage some of the old bench work that I've had for years from the previous railroad that I tried, and I've cut it and pasted it into the little space that I have. And slowly construction's getting going. The planning phase is coming together, getting the old trains out and playing with them. And yeah, it's there is a thing. Yeah, I'm of two worlds really. The digital world is incredible, and I love it, and I would never give up gaming. I just won't. It's in my blood. But there's also that analog part of me that loves taking things out and collecting them and playing with them and putting them on track and watching them go around. And it's the same with the slot cars. I play with slot cars in the same way too. And so this has been a real kind of journey back into my childhood, getting this stuff out and messing with it again and forming things and building things in miniature. And it's always been something that I enjoyed, and I'm really digging getting back into it. So that's where I'm at. A little of this, little of that, and just enjoying springtime. It's been great.
Dude,
Oh,
your
and broke out Eli's Switch after we got home from watching Super Mario Super Mario Brothers movie, and he has access to the Super Nintendo library
Oh yeah,
on
yeah.
Switch. So Mario World, uh, dove into that for a few minutes, and then realized all three of the Donkey Kong Country games are in that library. So I fired up the original Donkey Kong Country. Oh my God. Talk about nostalgia trip. That's been fun. And have loved playing tag team with Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. And yeah, thank you Nintendo and the Mario movie for reviving that for me as well, and I've loved going back and revisiting it.
I'm actually
So
really
yeah, that's what I'm
excited. Dude, I'm actually really excited to go see the Mario movie because I didn't realize Seth Rogen was Donkey Kong. I'm a huge Seth
Yeah,
Rogen fan. And,
there
I
you
saw
go.
this clip of him kind of like behind Mario with his laugh, and it made me laugh very hard. So it's with that little bit,
It
I'm like,
worked.
okay,
It worked very well. It worked very
nice.
well for the movie. Yeah, I'm
Well,
shocked you haven't come to see it yet. But like you
dude,
said, you've been busy.
yeah, I've been very busy with the farm, and that kind of leads me to what I've been up to. But before I get to what I've been up to, I just want to say, yeah, you were kind of the first person I ever really talked to that did the miniature thing, and I never really understood it. But who knows? Maybe we can have a big calamity come in and destroy what you've built, and then we can play Star Wars miniatures on top of it because there's a galactic invasion. You know
On
what
the
I mean?
ruins of
Yeah, and
whatever was there before.
yeah, I'll
No,
film it. I'll film it and we'll put like
dude,
dialogue behind it. That would be hilarious.
dude, you
and
know how many
and
figures
epic.
I've got. You know
Dude,
I'm gonna have a picture of stormtroopers invading 1950s Central Pennsylvania.
dude, you should. Why not? I mean that leads
Why
me to
not?
that.
It's my
Did you
world. I'm
see
building it.
yeah, my world, homebrew. Did you see the new miniature game that's coming out?
No.
There's a
No,
brand new Star Wars miniature game coming out, Ethan, and it's like
who's
it's
putting
like
it out?
I don't know. You need to
I
Google it and get
I
on
need
it.
to
But I
look this
think
up. But who
I
has,
think
who
it's
has the
like
license?
I'm not sure, but I just saw a tweet on it not too long ago. But it looks like a hero type, like heroes,
Oh, is it Shatterpoint?
I think so.
Shatterpoint from Atomic Mass Games. Okay, yeah. This makes sense. I have heard rumor about it. I have not actually looked into it.
Yeah,
Summer 2023. No, this is exciting.
that is exciting because I would love to get together and play it with you, and then we could talk about it on the show.
Yeah, it's a squad building miniatures game.
That's
This
really
is
cool.
incredible. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
awesome stuff. And it's updated with Bo-Katan, Ahsoka Tano, all the stuff from the latest stuff, which is why miniatures has died, for the most part. I will never get rid of the collection, but I don't have any of that. I take it back. I have Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars series, from the animated series, but that's early in the run. And yeah, there's just nothing from the latest stuff. Man, a miniature Bo-Katan or Din Djarin or Ahsoka. Man, that's
that'd be pretty sweet.
nice. That is
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
that's nice. All
So
right,
yeah, I'm looking
Ethan.
forward to that.
Yeah,
There's something else. I'm looking
yeah,
forward to Shatterpoint, summer
yeah,
2023.
summer 2023. There you have it. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on what I've been on, because I want to get to the content of the episode. But honestly, my wife quit her job, and she is officially joining Highland Productions, which is my professional, handle, I guess you could call it. She's my partner and my assistant. So I literally have someone scheduling when I'm recording, when I'm editing, when I have to do certain stuff on the farm, house tasks, like when I have it's it's been just a couple of weeks, and it's incredible, to see what another person can add just to kind of help you get some stuff together. But it's like I have a built-in gym partner. We eat the same. Like, it's crazy. I'm surprised we're not sick of each other yet, honestly. But she's just in La La Land over there. She made my schedule for this week, but she's playing Fortnite and listening to her own podcasts that she likes. So 15-year-old Gabe right now is like, what? Like, how did you do that? Dude, it's her. It's all her. So that's
No,
been very exciting. But go ahead. Sorry.
well, I was gonna say that's awesome, and the fact that you're not the proto man that would say, "Well, I would never let a woman tell me what to do." It's not that. It's your partners,
Yep.
and
It's a team.
she knows you well enough and can schedule so that she can keep you on point, which is something that you've needed. That's
Totally.
awesome. And
Totally.
I'm glad to hear it.
Dude,
Glad to hear it.
yeah, I'm glad it's, and I think that Wannabe Critic Productions in its earliest forms was always just trying to figure out what we wanted to do, and who the cast was going to be, and what is this thing. And in that mode where it was a sprint all the time, it was like, give me all the water balloons, we're throwing them all at the wall, whatever sticks.
Yeah.
And and there's a time you can do that, and then there's a time where you have to move on and consolidate, and then keep your ideas that aren't your best ones. They may be passion projects, and that's great, but there's another, it's like there's focus to be had, and that's what I've been spending my time on, is just trying to balance managing this ranch and trying to get a path set for the future for Wannabe Critic Productions. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to launch Highland Productions officially. My goal is September to launch, which I guess I probably shouldn't say that out loud. That's my goal. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I have some projects that I need to complete before I can actually say, hey, let me work with you on your thing. You know?
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are, because the world doesn't care about what you're going to do. Well, I just have to say this. The world doesn't care about what you're going to do. The world cares about what you've done.
That's true.
That is the mindset that I have going forward. So we may be posting a lot less, but I need to prove that we can have some sort of consistency with the original idea, which was to have a bi-weekly show. Mm-hmm. So if we can keep the spirit of Geekly Bi-Weekly going for this podcast feed, that's what we're going to try and do. And, you know, this podcast feed is the priority podcast feed. So everything else just kind of falls to the wayside. This is the one that gets the most focus. And I like it that way. I really do. And I think it's in a good place. I'm excited to keep going with this. So that's what I've been up to, is just, you know, working on all this stuff. And yes, I want to hear your request.
Well, one request related to what you just said. Can she schedule Ryan so that we can podcast Geekly Retrospect? If we could get him in touch with him and wrangle him, we could get this done.
Yeah, I mean, her people could get in touch with his people.
Sorry,
that
Ryan.
Might get in touch to, you know, yeah. Well, you know, it is
well deserved.
Yeah, it is deserved. We hate you, Ryan.
Deserved.
No, just kidding. We love you, Ryan.
No.
Ethan, it's great to hear from you, man. I love you like a brother, and I'm glad that we can do this show together. So
I have affection for you as well.
I was really excited whenever you were like, dude, we got to geek out about this, because it's like, he's back, ladies and gentlemen. The host of freaking Age of Geek is back.
I'm excited to talk about something.
He's gone Super Saiyan. Look at him go. And I'm just here along for the ride, like the good old days. Woo-hoo! All right, Ethan. I'm gonna throw this
Are we
one
launching
over to
into
you.
some miscellaneous news then?
Proceed.
Onward ho. Here we go. I only have one basically for April so far, and that is the Super Mario movie cleared over 200 million at the box office for its opening weekend. Unreal.
That's a lot.
We knew it would be successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
We knew this
for
would
sure.
be a good movie.
I mean, take the parents are always looking for things for their kids to do. It doesn't matter who the mascot is for the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So take that into consideration. This movie was going to be inherently a success by box office standards. It wasn't even a question. Add a beloved franchise mascot on top of that. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Duh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's set this up. And I'm winking at the camera for our later discussion here.
Right.
What has happened here? Well, a very popular entertainment company has taken a character that is beloved by a vast majority of its base, right? And they've simply done a decent movie that tells the character's story, and it doesn't throw any weird stuff out there and change the paradigm of the character. And they wove the actual character into a decent movie, into a decent story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And at the end of it, you're like, that was satisfying. I'm very proud of Nintendo for what they've done with this movie, and not getting their fingers in there and saying, let's make this about nostalgia and sell more video game systems and stuff like that. At no point did I feel like I was watching, and I was watching an advertisement for Nintendo games, but I didn't feel like I was watching an advertisement for Nintendo games.
Right. It didn't feel like you were just trying to watch something to buy toys or whatever, you know. It's like, it was what it was.
Look at the effect that it had on me,
right?
A 45-year-old, when I went home. It's like, man, I want to play some old Nintendo games. And that's
Well,
what I
and
started doing.
well, and it's like, it reminds me of like when you go see like an action movie or something, and like you're with your buddies, and then you come back and you want to like act out what you did. It's like, oh, like, like certain scenes that like
When
you're
you're
gonna
out in the
become
parking lot from the
yeah.
theater.
Well, no, just like when we'd go back to like my grandma's house and like we'd get sticks and like usually it was like
Oh
after
yeah.
Star, like you're just making your own campaigns in your head and like making up your own stories, and it was like you wanted to live that. So it sounds like the Mario movie for you has been like, this is scratching all the itches as a fan, and this is reminding me of why I love this thing that I've spent so much time on.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's great. I'm glad that they've done as well as they have this opening weekend, and it will continue for the next several weeks to do very well, I think, because this is a movie that, start to finish, is solid. And at no point does it feel like it's a lull. At no point does it feel like it's just a corporate money grab. It's colorful. It's meaningful. It has feelings to it, and yeah, it can't speak highly enough about this movie. And if you want to hear a little bit more about us gush about it, we did the snap judgment that Gabe was nice enough to release on this feed too. So,
Yep, there it is.
props to the Mario movie and everyone involved in it for putting together a great animated film.
Props to, and I can't wait to go see it. And honestly, I'm an Illumination fan. I remember going to see the first Despicable Me and being like, these minions are going to take over the world. And sure enough, they did for the next 10 years. All the Karens on Facebook, everyone knows what minions are. Thanks to Karens, the Karen forces.
Yeah.
So, Illumination knows what they're doing. They know how to tell a story. They know how to make you laugh. They know how to make you feel. They know how to make you think. And, obviously, I don't think Nintendo is going to take any chances with their tentpole, franchise.
Yeah.
So, and just so we're, kind of, just to kind of put it in perspective, we said 200 million opening weekend at the box office. What do you think Avatar did?
Ooh, The Way of Water or the first Avatar?
At Way of Water.
Ooh, gosh, I don't know. It didn't feel like it made a splash. I'll say, hey, I'll say 120 million.
134 million. So,
Oh, we're in the ballpark. Okay.
yep. This movie,
This is huge then.
Yeah, this outperformed it. So, I guess we have to ask the question: could this be one of the highest grossing movies of all time?
Ooh, gosh. It'll be up there. Top 5, maybe. I could definitely see it going top 5.
I could see it going top 10.
Top 10. Okay.
Yeah,
That'll be curious.
that'll be interesting to see,
Curious to
especially
see how
after
that
it's
goes.
had its after it's had its box office run. So,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
next
absolutely.
song.
Next song. That's it for news. Let's move on to a main topic. That main topic being what else but Celebration 2023. And so, yeah. So we'll do this blow by blow on the high notes from what was announced out of Celebration 2023. I woke up Thursday morning and fired up my PC and was checking headlines through my various aggregate program that I use for that, and noticed there is a trailer that had been dropped very quietly for Ahsoka, and I watched it.
I also
And
watched it.
I watched it again, and I watched it a third time.
You watched the trailer 3
Because
times?
I watched the trailer 3 times.
Whoa.
Dude, what before I gush, what were your thoughts, your initial reaction on?
So, I have a very interesting relationship with trailers, in that it's a love-hate relationship. I watched a trailer once, and I don't watch it again. Because I found that was a tool that I would, that was something I would do, and it ended up being a catalyst for disappointment, because you build up what you think it might be so much that whenever you get to it, I don't know, I found myself being disappointed a lot. Like, the one I can remember the most was Spider-Man 3. I probably watched that trailer 100 times. Just could not wait for the movie. And then I went and saw the movie, and it was like, And I remember being a kid and being just very disappointed, and it was like, okay, well, that's the last time I really, go that far with trailers. So I watch a trailer like once and I will not watch it again. Um, so my initial thoughts was wow. Um, Big wow. Obviously, they've been hinting at this Rebels reunion for a long time. The prospect of them potentially taking some ideas from the EU that I'm familiar with, like Thrawn, Heir to the Empire, things like that, and now doing what we wanted them to do, take those themes and do your own thing with it now. That makes me very excited because now, in doing all of these things, they're legitimizing thoughts and fan theories and like things that we weren't sure, like if this was going to be right, and they're taking things that are already existing and like really feels like they're innovating finally.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the type of thing that we needed. We needed something like this to bring all kinds of speculation, because I think this may be the key to, we were talking about this last week on Mando. We were like, what's going to be next, for the Star Wars universe? Ahsoka could be the gateway to what follows, after. So my initial reaction to it was very good. The hope that we might be seeing a gateway to the future, especially like with the news Daisy Ridley coming back. It's like, oh my God, are they really trying to connect these two very different feeling portions of this universe? Are they going to try and connect it and make it all feel the same? Which I thought was impossible, but they seem to think it's not. So I don't know. Like it definitely excited me.
Hold your thought. Hold your thought
Yeah.
on the Wraith thing, because we haven't got there yet. But yeah, I'm sure it's.
Well, I'm just
I'd like
I'm just
to
saying.
discuss that a little bit further with you.
I definitely do too. But I guess for me, like the trailer, it incited a lot of speculation, and to me, that's exciting because I love to speculate. I love speculating.
Yeah.
So yeah, very exciting.
I'll paint a little bit different picture for you. I guess the reason why I watched the trailer as much as I did is I came from, well, let me paint a picture for you. About February 99, dial-up internet, and the episode 1 trailer dropped. So you had to wait 3 hours for it to download. So of course you watched it multiple times because you had a lot of time investment waiting for it to all download to your hard drive so you could finally watch it. Now we get to stream 2-minute stream 2-minute trailer. Shut up, man. You get to watch it back to back to back, and you don't have to wait on it. It was awesome. It was awesome. So that's why I watched it. But
no, I wasn't making fun of you.
As you say, old. Yeah. Okay, I get you.
I can't help myself, Ethan. You set me up, and I'm just like,
I know. I know. I'm just busting your chops. But
I hope
to the trailer itself, yes, I absolutely agree with everything you had to say, especially with Thrawn. My thought is this, similar to yours, and also, if this is what Disney had intended by eschewing Legends and getting rid of what came before, so that they're going to do this, okay, that doesn't sting as bad as, nah, we're doing our own thing. Well, they now realize their own thing isn't necessarily what the fan base wanted, and it seems like they're now starting to try. They're bringing it in. They're bringing the goalposts in to something a little bit more like what we're familiar with and what we wanted to see. And remember all the fan speculation when Disney took over Star Wars. One of the first things it talked about is where are they going to go with the sequel? Thrawn's out there. Let's go with it.
Right.
Well, now we're finally getting that storytelling. And it's gratifying. It's gratifying to see it. And so, yeah, I was extremely excited for Star Wars just based on that trailer alone. And then Celebration started rolling out more stuff. And so we'll get into it here a little bit further. Another one of the things announced, season 3 of Bad Batch for 2024. What?
Hold that thought. I just wanted to mention, you did see that Luke Mickelson is coming back as Thrawn.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I meant to mention that. Yeah, I didn't put it in my notes, but yeah, you're
Yeah,
absolutely right.
kind of
So
crazy.
coupled with that trailer, yeah, Mickelson,
Yeah, wild.
who played
Anyways,
Thrawn's
who played
voice in
Thrawn and
Rebels.
yeah, and Rebels? It's just like
Yeah,
wow, Katie's. I mean, I guess that's like that's what you do. That's what it's. That's what's cool. It's like if you can make it work, because these are actors. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like if you can make it work, you should. Give the
yeah,
fans what they want, and that's what they're doing. It's cool.
yeah. Very cool. Bad Batch season 3, 2024. That was another announcement. That made me excited, especially since I have just finished season 2, and considering where that was left, I was going to be disappointed if there was not going to be if it wasn't going to be picked up. Apparently, it is. So I'm very happy Dave Filoni gets to pursue that story, gets to continue it.
I'm gonna have to watch that show because
Yeah,
I've only seen the first couple episodes, and I didn't think it was gonna stick around.
yeah. No, I get it because season 1 was very up and down for me. Parts of season 2 are up and down as well, but there are way more hits, and there is a lot of deep diving into the things that we wanted to know about that time right after Order 66
Mm.
and the fallout of it. And they're doing a fantastic job in season 2 of making me interested in that time period and interested in storytelling and characters from that time period. And that's been kind of a hard thing in the wake of Revenge of the Sith. It didn't come out of the gate with all of that information and all of that storytelling. We had to wait a while. We got teased with it with Unleashed, but then that was tossed out of canon. We've had to wait a while for that to really kind of be filled in. And Bad Batch is a really great example of good storytelling in that time period. So yeah, I highly recommend that you should watch season 2 as soon as you can.
Season 1 and season 2. I've only seen.
Oh, 1 and 2.
I have not
Oh yeah,
watched it. Yeah, and that I see the next thing on
any
the
of it.
doc here. The story is the same with Visions. I've only seen a couple episodes of Visions. I'm way more
Same.
interested in Visions. What I've seen of Visions, I'm like, wow, that is my favorite animated Star Wars thing I've seen probably so far.
There was
Um,
one of that's a very what do they call it? Anthology.
yeah,
It's an
like lore.
anthology, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And there
yeah,
were
yeah.
a couple of those stories that I thought were really good, really good, really struck at the heart of what Star Wars was, at least for what they were doing, what they were trying to the story they were trying to tell. And so yeah, I don't get all of it. As a particular Star Wars fan, I don't subscribe to all of it, but it's there. It's there for anyone to consume. And a second season of it, I'm sure there's going to be something there that I'm going to like too.
For sure. For sure. Visions was the anime, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What am I
And
thinking
and it
of?
looks.
I'm
I'm
thinking
sorry.
of Tales of the
You're
Jedi.
thinking of Tales of the Jedi, aren't you?
Yep, I am. I've only seen
Visions
I've
was
only
the. Yeah.
yeah, I've seen a few episodes of Visions as well. So, sorry about that everybody.
Yeah, some were hits, some were hits, some were misses with me.
Yeah,
It, and that's the thing.
a rock band trying to appease Jabba the Hutt so they don't get executed. Come on. Like good god. And the lead singer's a Jedi. All right.
What
it's just
kind of story?
yeah,
What
it's
kind
silly.
of story? Where'd that come from? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you there. So, but I'm excited for Visions because in storytelling like that, you'll see people hit on something really strong, and maybe that'll be another idea for another series down the line, or they'll revisit it. So yeah, good to see that that's getting another go. Here we are, the crux of it, the heart, the meat of the discussion. Kathleen Kennedy announced 3 new movies are in the works. From StarWars.com, we have this description of what she announced. James Mangold is announced as the director for one of them. James Mangold's movie will go back to the dawn of the Jedi, while Dave Filoni's will focus on the New Republic and close out the interconnected stories told in The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and other Disney Plus series. I'm curious about that. What are they talking about there? Because we haven't seen that yet. Charmin Obed-Chinoy's film will be set after the events of Star Wars Rise of Skywalker and will feature Daisy Ridley back as Rey as she builds a new Jedi Order. A lot to unpack here, Gabe. Let's take the first part. James Mangold's movie goes back to the dawn of the Jedi.
It's
Thoughts?
it's a shoe-in. It's not even. Yes, that's all I'm gonna say. Yes, because if you haven't seen Logan, shame on you. But the way he built up the storytelling and like the Wolverine and like just showed really like a lot of respect, I feel like, for like Asian culture in general, and you could tell he loves it. Um, the man knows how to set a tone. And if it's about going back to the dawn of the Jedi, I think we're in for some grit for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
which I'm down for. I think it makes a lot of sense. Can you rattle off? Do you know any of his movies off the top? Because I have a list here.
I
Um,
have Logan, and I know he's the director for the new Indiana Jones, which I'm excited for, and is going to tell me a lot about what I might expect from his
okay,
Star Wars venture.
here's a few of his movies. All right. So yes, Indiana Jones, Logan, Ford versus Ferrari, The Wolverine,
Oh yeah,
th-
I knew that one.
yeah, 310 to Yuma, Walk the Line, um, as well as actually, hold on, let me triple check this. You know how? Give me one sec. Give me one sec. Give me one sec.
Uh, I'll vamp here. Ford versus Ferrari is an excellent biopic, and
Visually stunning. Like whenever
yeah,
his you see his brakes heating up and like
yeah,
just like wow. I mean, I'm not I like cars. I appreciate the beauty of cars. And watching that in the front room, it was like, oh my God, I see why car guys like go nuts over this because it's beautiful. It's an art.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, he really
But he also was able to tell an entertaining story that wasn't quite that entertaining in reality, right?
totally right.
So he's a storyteller. It's not just about the whiz bang and the special effects. He actually knows how to weave a good story with all of the
Right.
special effects. So we should be excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's had some misses as well. Like I've never heard of these movies. I've never heard of Night and Day was like this weird action rom-com that was a complete flop. 310 to
Oh,
Yuma.
okay, hold on. Before we move
What?
on from that, I've actually watched that a couple of times. It's
Seriously?
entertaining.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a rom com. My wife watches it. I have sat in the room and watched it and was entertained. I got to admit.
Okay. All right. Maybe I shouldn't crap on it. All right. I'm just saying. I just remember, and I'm not saying it didn't look interesting.
Hey,
It didn't. No one knows
I'm
about
not
it.
saying I'm not saying it's high cinema. I'm just saying I was
It's
entertained.
entertaining.
It was
Well,
entertaining.
I was entertained by the Rise of Skywalker. All right. No, I'm just kidding. I was though. He's done a bunch of stuff that I don't know, but he's also had lots of hits as well. So to answer your question, I know I've been kind of rattling on. I think it's a great choice to try and yeah. I mean, there's no better way to say it. I think he's a great choice. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree. And this is what you were talking about the other day. You were interested in going to places where we haven't been before. And that's exactly what we're going to get here. We've not told stories in the time period that he's talking about the earliest Jedi. We've had comic books years ago in the Legend series that were amazing. If we catch just a hint of that with somebody that knows how to tell weave a good story and do it with incredible special effects, we have nothing but excitement for I have nothing but excitement for what's to come out of this.
Same. I
Yeah.
completely agree.
All right. Dave Filoni, we have stated here, our Lord and Savior for Star Wars. Here he has probably the linchpin movie. This is going to be the hardest task to complete. He's taking elements from The Mandalorian, the book Boba Fett, Ahsoka, other Disney series. Like I said, we haven't seen what this is fully yet. We don't have a full picture. He's taking all of this and he's wrapping it up in a film. Thoughts? This is a big ask.
I think it's a bad decision.
Do you
Um,
really?
yes. And one movie? Are you serious? They should have given Filoni 3 movies so that he can actually do a good job. Because how is he? How can this be the? How can this be the end to these multiple series? It just leads me, like, my brain immediately goes to wanting to speculate. Like, what is going to happen that is going to involve all of these things? And I don't know, like I feel
I
like it's
love
gonna
it.
be. I feel like it's gonna be really hard. Go ahead.
You've got the punch. You're scared.
I am
This
scared.
is a big ask, right?
Yes.
Here's the counterpunch. One of the things that I feel like has missed out of Disney is they've been striking and that nothing is hit, right? Except Mandalorian. And then out of Mandalorian, they took a misstep with Book of Boba Fett. But there's elements there that are interesting in Book of Boba Fett. Ahsoka looks like it's going to be right now from where I sit. There's no reason to think that it won't be a hit. There's going to be a lot of good that comes out of it. What if what we're seeing out of these series is what we got used to in the MCU? There would be a movie that told an aspect of a story. There would be another movie that would tell a different aspect, but would somehow tie in to the previous, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. And we could see the links in the chain being built. And then we got a big hit at the end with an Avengers movie, right?
Right. Yeah.
I
No.
feel like I feel like this is the formula that we may be seeing coming together here. And Dave Filoni is the guy, I think. If there's anybody that can do it, it's gonna be him. And if Ahsoka, with him at the helm, does what I think it's gonna do, I think we're gonna see the volleyball served up, and then whatever that movie is that comes in behind is just gonna spike it hard into the dirt. And I feel like this is gonna be
And
of all three of
Filoni.
the movies that are announced, this is the one that I feel like is going to put the stamp on Star Wars is back in cinema.
I,
But
I.
it's had to have help to get there.
Yeah. And I
That's
mean,
the counterpunch.
I want that to be the case. And you are right. If there's anyone that can do it, it's Filoni. And it does give me, a second thought. It's like, he's not the type of guy that's like, oh, well, this is the story and now I'm done. Like, he has ideas for characters. If it does really well, maybe he will get his own trilogy of movies. Maybe if maybe the interconnecting piece is something, there's going to be maybe there's going to be some sort of, dude. Well, never mind. You don't like to speculate, so forget about it.
No,
Aren't they? No, I'm just saying. No,
just because
I'm teasing.
look, I just went through a bunch of speculation about MCU or how this could come together.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is true. I just feel like there would need to be. I just want to know what the plot is like, and it's such a big tease that they're like, and other series. It's like, what, like, how long is it going to be before we get this movie? And I'm not trying to
Yeah.
be like a contrarian or anything like that. I'm just giving like legitimate questions. Like, wow, this is all we're going to get is just the knowledge that this thing is coming. But
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. I don't want to be set up for failure. That's it. That's my only worry. I want it to
I get
mean
it.
something. I just want it to be satisfying. That's it.
Yep. No, I hear you. I hear and look right now from where we sit, it's a 50-50.
Yeah,
It could go.
totally. Yeah, and I mean, I'm interested in Star Wars moving forward, but I'm not like I once was, where it's all I can think about, and like that's like my main, like
Yeah.
hobby is
You
like,
realize, you realize this is entertainment, not
yeah,
life.
exactly. No,
That's
yeah,
it.
exactly. Unfortunately, um, and I guess the obsession, right, has just kind of gone away with it in a lot of aspects, and it's like I've been playing Jedi Fallen Order, and I still pop in and keep, do Star Wars things because it's one of my favorite series ever. I've been a little cooled off from it for a while now. Just been focused on other things, and this news has me very intrigued. Along with what we're seeing in the Mandalorian right now, it's like I'm I like where it's going, and I'm happy that we're getting updates on what's to come for sure. So let's talk about this last movie.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker. After Rise of Skywalker, we get a Rey movie.
All right, guys, thanks for showing up.
Yep. There we go. Wouldn't it be awesome if we just fade to black on that right there?
Do, 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 do.
No, I guess we have to talk about it. You go first, or do you want me to poo poo on it first?
You go. I sung its
a
graces.
very specific thought on this. I have a very specific thought.
All right, I'm here. I'm here for it.
Rey takes Skywalker's name at the end of Rise of Skywalker. Now she's taking Skywalker's legacy by building a new Jedi Order. I hate this. I mean, and I'm using that word as it's intended.
Hold on.
No, don't stop me right now. I am on the soapbox, and when I put it away, then you can talk. I said what I said. Okay, this is usurping the throne from my favorite Jedi, and I don't like what's going on here. Don't get me wrong. Daisy Ridley is a perfectly fine person, I'm sure. But I hope she understands what she is taking on by basically being the center of another movie in what was already a failed sequel trilogy, in my opinion. We look at the director of this, we know what we're going to get. We're going to get girl power to the nth degree. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to sit through this movie. I'm sorry. I hate the idea of someone usurping the Skywalker role that I grew up with in building a new Jedi Order. She's standing on the back of the movies that came before. It all just feels wrong. It all just feels wonky and off, and I'm salty about it. And I know that's what the internet's for, and that's where I need to go and vent that. But I have a forum right here, and but before I get just completely wound up and off the rails, I'm just going to stop here and slide the soapbox back under the table. Gabe, what are your thoughts?
Are you done?
Not even close. Let's go ahead. Proceed with the chlorophyll.
All right, so here's the counterpunch. You have to acknowledge that, first of all, girl power is important. But Emma just gave me a thumbs up. And you have to also take you also have to take into consideration that Daisy Ridley very well could have become somebody else's idol, somebody else's Luke, because they don't understand what they're missing out on. And it's unfortunate that I'm even uttering those words, because obviously it's such a polarizing character. There's so much to be said about it. And we've talked it to death, obviously. I enjoyed the sequel trilogy. It launched me into becoming a Star Wars super fan. Which I already love Star Wars, but it's like it took me a step further. And looking back now, I can see the flaws. There's a lot of flaws in those movies. There's also a lot of good in those movies. Some good. Rey as a character doesn't necessarily bother me, because I think they may be... I feel like this whole chosen one thing, I feel like they're going to continue to try and evolve this story to maybe say, we've always kind of talked about there being a chosen one at different points in time, right? Based on what was happening with the Force and yada, yada, yada. I refuse to believe that they're going to disrespect Luke Skywalker's legacy further, for the simple fact that Force ghosts exist. And that we've seen Force ghosts enter the realm on repeated occasion to help Jedis. Like we saw it happen with Luke and Obi-Wan. We saw it happen with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. We saw it happen with Daisy and Rey and Luke in Rise of Skywalker. So I refuse to believe that Disney is going to look at the failure that the sequel trilogy was and continue to disrespect it. And that's just my take. If they do, I don't know what to say. At least we have some good stuff now. I view this as an opportunity for Rey to be redeemed. I want Rey to be redeemed. I do. And the fact that she is coming back on, it's cool. I think it could be cool, but it's probably not going to be. So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt until it proves to me that it is not going to be good for the fan base and for the Star Wars community as a whole. Because you start talking about Rey, and the room just gets really thick, and you can cut it. The air gets really thick, and you can cut it with a knife because you kind of hate Rey, right? Legitimately.
I don't hate the character. She's actually a decent character. What I hate is how badly the writers got her from point A in Force Awakens to point B in Rise of Skywalker. There were a lot of decisions that were made that completely, in my opinion, break the Star Wars universe. And in fact, in the final analysis, break what it means to tell a hero story. That's what I hate about it.
But Daisy Ridley, it's not Daisy Ridley.
It's not Daisy Ridley that I hate.
Right.
It's not the character, the idea of the character of Rey. It's not that. It's what was done with that character and how hodgepodge the process of telling that character's story, how hodgepodge that was, and how it ignored all the rules of hero stories that came before. And it was done, and when it was all said and done, the people that were involved in it said, tough. We're doing, this is our fanfic. I'm like, okay. Well, if that's the attitude, then I'm
out. Right.
Yeah. That's where I'm coming from.
No, and I hear you. So I think
now, that said, if they learn their lesson, if they've learned the lessons from the sequel trilogy, and there's lessons there to be learned, we've talked about them ad nauseum on this show and others. If they've learned them, this could be just as good a movie as James Mangold's and just as good as Dave Filoni's. Or what if Dave Filoni flops and this is the one that we're talking about that, wow, can you believe how good they did with it?
Right.
That could happen. And if it does, I'm sad for Dave Filoni. But hey, maybe I'm interested in the post-sequel trilogy era.
Yeah, I mean...
That'd be an interesting twist.
Well, yeah, especially if it is the New Jedi Order. They've already established, New Jedi Order is going to be a era that they will be focusing on. Yeah. Which we know, New Jedi Order, we're talking Yuuzhan Vong, we're talking big things that happen in that universe.
Yeah.
If we have to substitute Luke Skywalker being the leader, and we get Rey as the new face, and Grogu's there, and Ezra's there, and all these people we love are there, and we are in fact being ushered into. It's like Dave Filoni saying, "Look, we know what the fans like." And plus, I do want to point out, we don't know who's writing this movie. We just know that Charmin is directing it. Yeah. So we don't know who's writing it. Dave Filoni might be writing it.
She didn't write Miss Marvel either.
Yeah. So I mean, we don't.
By golly, she put her stamp on it.
Right. And we just don't know. And that's what's the beautiful thing about speculation is like, do the events, the outcome of The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, what Dave Filoni is doing, does that directly then set up what happens in Rey's movie, where it's like Grogu's with Rey now, Luke's a Force ghost, Ezra is, there's just so many questions that come up.
Here again, speculation, and that's an interesting thought. I just don't think, because this is a Kathleen Kennedy pet project, And we haven't talked about the fact that at Celebration, she got panned by the audience. Whenever she was announced on stage, the audience reaction was not enthusiastic. It was smattering of clapping, and that was it. And she looked pained walking out on stage to announce these movies. Whereas other people were announced on the stage behind her and got very enthusiastic clapping and woo-hooing and cheering. Kathleen Kennedy's job is on the line here. And
Yeah.
these movies are going to make or break whether or not she stays with Disney. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, and I'm certainly not going to express my opinion. I've already expressed my opinion. She at this point she can do no good. Even if these movies are a success, she's still on notice.
Yeah.
And I think that's just almost across the board from the fandom's point of view. A lot's riding on these movies. They have to learn lessons. If they've learned lessons and they allow smart people to make the decisions on how the stories are going to be told, then okay, maybe we look in a few years back at this movie, at this announcement of this movie, and say, okay, that was the turning point, and things got better from there.
Yeah, that's exactly. I hope that's. Yeah.
I'm 60% hopeful. 40%. Not quite sure this is going to pan out. We'll see how it goes.
I have 0%. Like, I'm still trying to process all of this. I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I just know I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it. I know one thing about me as a wannabe critic is I'm going to identify what the purpose was. I'm going to think about the reaction. I'm going to think about my reaction, rather. I'm going to find something good about these movies. I'm going to find something good about Charmin's movie. Even if I hate it as a whole, there's going to be something in that movie that I'm going to like. Whether it's a moment where they tried to appeal to the fans or, that may, and it's like, if that's the case, that is part of what makes me appreciate Star Wars is those collective awesome moments that engulf you in this universe.
I have to admit that Rian Johnson did something beautiful in his film.
Yeah, with the ship. I mean, it's one of a kind, and you can always find something positive to say. And I want to be optimistic, but I don't really have an opinion because at the end of the day, at this point, it's just not going to affect me that much because I've already been let down. There was a time period where it was like, oh, I'm let down by these conversations I'm having, and it's like, man, I just kind of feel alone in my opinion, right? So, but now as we've been getting more stuff, it's like, okay, well,
now we can share the love.
Yeah, exactly. And
so that's why I say 60-40, because honestly, they have to be learning some lessons. And if they are, then we're going to get good stuff to talk about out of all three of these movies.
Well, and I just think about, the MCU is tanking right now. So they need something to replace that. And I just think about, with like the Kree invasion and like all that stuff and like all of the Chitauri and Avengers, like I see Yuzhan Vong, dude. Like I think that, because that is just such a major threat to the galaxy.
Well,
and
look at this. On their own, they have not been able to come up with anything that holds a candle to what the Legends stories told, right?
Right.
So it would make sense. They already brought in Thrawn. They couldn't get out from under his shadow.
Right. Yeah.
So why not go ahead and just lean into it? Just lean into it
at this point. And I mean, it's like if Filoni's like, saying, hey, this is what the fans want. Favreau's saying, hey, this is what the fans want. Kathleen is very loudly saying, hey, this is what the fans want. There's only one person that's actually right, or, wrong, rather, and that's Kathleen Kennedy. So if I was Bob Iger, I'd be like, you could sit down because you obviously don't know what you're talking about. You are dividing the fan base in place of, perpetuating your own personal agenda. And,
yes.
I think there's a lot of truth to what you just said earlier. Her job is on the line. So We'll see what happens.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. What was this last line you put in the episode, Ethan?
Well, we've been doing it. We've been letting the hate or the love flow through us.
Yes. Yes, we have.
So there you go.
There you have it.
And that's our discussion of Celebration 2023.
We thought that we were going to have a half-hour podcast, Ethan.
Oh, we are always so wrong.
I know. Every week, every time, every single time.
Every time. Take us
Ethan,
out.
Yeah, no, I'm tired. You take us out. You take us out.
Okay. Well, folks, we hope you've enjoyed the conversation. And if you'd like to leave a comment about your thoughts on what's to come for Star Wars, the MCU, Super Mario Brothers movie, have you seen it yet? Leave your comment below. Whether that's on YouTube or if you listen to us on Spotify, we thank you very much for that. Continue to listen to the Wannabe Network. And other shows we're doing, don't forget to listen to Snap Judgment. That's under the Geekly Retrospect banner. Episode 1 of Geekly Retrospect is coming soon, I promise. Gabe's doing a lot of stuff. We have other people doing a lot of stuff. I can't remember what it all is right now. So throw a title out there, Gabe.
Throw a title?
Me a bone here. Throw me a freaking bone here.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't do this all the time.
I know. This is my wheelhouse. I'm sorry. Ethan,
keep listening to the feed.
I'm sorry.
You very much for being here.
Yeah, we do thank you very much for being here. And, I talk about this all the time. It's like, this is such a unique hobby in that no other hobby can do what podcasting does for you, because the fact of the matter is, there may be 2 people that listens to this, but that's 2 people that's in on the joke with us. That's in on the
hi mom,
yeah.
Hi dad.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Like, thanks wife for listening. But we do it because we love it, and we love having you. If you listen, whether you watch us on YouTube, we've been seeing the numbers on YouTube have been pretty consistent, even though we've on the Wannabe Critic Productions page, which you can follow. I'll have a link to that, which you can subscribe to on YouTube. We've been seeing, like a couple hundred views or like 100 to 150 views per episode, and that's been really encouraging because we've been so quiet. So thank you for that. Like, we really appreciate it. And if you have any thoughts, you can definitely leave a comment down below. You can email us at geeklybiweekly1@gmail.com. There you go.
There
Ethan,
you go.
say goodbye.
I've been great. You've been great. Auf Wiedersehen.